All right, let's pivot here. Let's pivot and move on to the next talking point. We're talking about Brandon Ingram right here, right? Let's kind of move on to the player that a lot of people believe it is impacted by BI's tenure currently on the Pelicans. The fact that the Pels couldn't move BI, and a lot of people believe part of it is the Pelicans. A lot of people believe a part of it is BI's demands for a $50 million a year contract that has soured a lot of the deals that they're saying. So, and some people say it's a mixture of both. Now, let's talk about Trey Murphy, who is a participant who's just obviously watching what goes on. So, if the trade goes forward, BI gets traded at a centerpiece. Trey moves into the starting lineup in BI's current starting spot. What do you guys think about the whole situation around Trey Murphy, the contract, and what do you guys think, or how do you guys think that this will play forward? You guys also can chime in the chat. Let me know how y'all feel. Shout out to Stephanie, because I was going to this right after this. Good segue. Lex, what you think? We'll get you going first.
I mean, Trey Murphy's got to get his chance. I mean, he's been stepping into the starting role, when someone's injured, much like if somebody, any player gets injured, you have guys like Jordan Hawkins getting minutes, but that's the only time that you're getting into that starting role, or you're getting a bulk of your minutes. And at some point in time, especially by Trey Murphy being up for his contract extension, it's like, okay, so I think for him, when I'm, doing, I guess, the interview process, or, the contract discussions with his agent and everything. Okay, so what's the future for me here? How do I fit in to, for the foreseeable future? What's my role going to be? And I think, because look, the longer this plays out, Trey Murphy, he's being empowered even more. And let me tell you something. There are teams that are looking at Trey. They see his talents. It's not just the Pelicans. You know what I'm saying? Like Trey, like his ceiling, and we see it. His ceiling is it's pretty high. I mean, he really hasn't tapped into everything that he can do. We know he can work on his mid range, his handles, but he's already got that 3-and-D type pedigree, and he's 6'10".
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, hey, he doesn't mind shooting threes, because that's where the game is. The game is about, when they say, hey, you got a shot, you need a shot, they're not talking about a mid-range. They're talking about that 3-point shot. That's what that means. When somebody's like, hey, when they want to know if you have a shot or not, it has nothing to do with the mid-range. It has all to do with that 3-point line. Mm-hmm. That's what they're looking for. So, I mean, Trey's very valuable. And really, is like I said, as time goes along, he's being empowered more and more. And it's like, okay, well, if you're invested in wanting to keep Brandon, I can try going somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because I just kind of feel like he's kind of being put on the back burner right now. And it's like, okay, is Trey Murphy a part of the future, or is he not? And you kind of, because this isn't just about Brandon. It's not just about him. It's like, because a player wants to feel like, okay, am I in this picture? Where do I fit in? What's going on? And if not, if the opportunities are not there, shoot, Trey could want to leave. So I don't think he will, but I'm just saying, like, empowerment is a very, very big deal. So.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is on point. And for me, it's more like a money thing. Like the longer this waits, like you said, the more he's being empowered to get a bigger contract. I think Trey plays out this year. I think he's going to do great this year with what we want to do, and then having DeJounte Murray. I think he's going to do great, man. Anybody can see this dude can step in and pretty much almost give you the same average that Bi averaged last year. Is he a better player than Bi right now? No, he's not. He still has a lot of things to work on, but the way he gets his points fits the team better. And
Yeah,
he can get points easier without having the ball. And other teams are looking at him, and they look at a guy like Emmanuel Quigley, who got 5 years, 162. You know, that's what you're looking at. Somebody will throw a contract like that, maybe 180 at Trey Murphy. You know, the longer we go without getting an extension done, it just makes it more difficult, man. If you truly want to hold on to Bi for real, like if they really believe in Bi and they're trying to hold on to him, well, I think that comes at the expense of losing Trey Murphy. I don't think you can, for the long haul, let's see the next 4 or 5 years, you can keep both of them. Maybe we can sign Bi after this year if they decide to keep him to a short-term extension, which I'm not saying what I'm looking forward to doing. I think you should just cut ties if y'all gonna move on. But Trey Murphy is obviously the replacement for Bi. So at what point do you think he's ready? And how long does he want to continue to wait? Even if they do give him a contract similar, would he be happy with, you know, coming off the bench for Bi? Which I don't see any way how they can give him $100+ million and then bring him off the bench. So we're like, okay, well, what else can we do? Well, they can move CJ McCullough, but it still will have a lineup with DeJounte Murray. What you doing with Herb? So now that bumps Herb to never being a starter because you're going to put Trey there, Bi, Zion, and whoever's at center for the foreseeable future, whether it's Mises or we get somebody else, right? It's just the more you look at it, you're going to come to a crossroad with that situation. Trey and Herb love playing together. I hear a lot of stuff say they damn near like best friends now. He fits well with Zion. They play good off of each other. We saw the game where Bi was out with CJ and Trey out there with Zion against the Warriors. And then we saw what they did against Sacramento without Bi. It's like, man, you've seen so many examples of how much faster the team was able to play with Trey as opposed to Bi. If it was a reality or world that they can make it work, because I'm not one of the people who hates Bi and thinks he's a horrible player and he could never work with this. I don't see that. But it does make a lot of sense if you're going to move on from Bi, or if we want to keep Trey Murphy, to go ahead and move on from Bi, because this dude has to be a starter at some point. He ain't getting no younger. He's 24, so how long he gonna want to keep coming off the bench? Does he envision himself as the new age Jamal Crawford? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either, DC. I agree. I agree with everything you said, brother. You hit it all on the head, and sometimes it gets a bit convoluted because David Griffin has this word salad master degree that he has, or actually got a doctorate in that shit, where he rolls out this stuff, then rolls it back, and sometimes we forget what he says and changes it. But the reality is, if you think about it, he said the window he's seen enough of the window. He's seen it, and that's when he said that they were looking into what we've seen enough, and we got to make some changes. But the biggest change of the offseason obviously was them to get off Bi, and it didn't work for whatever reason, whether he was his $50 million contract, $50 million a year demand, or the Octopus wasn't motivated to move him, as he testified to that. We wasn't really motivated to move him, but you don't want to pay him. So this is one of the situations, Lex, you make a great point to start the broadcast off when you talked about the Valanciunas movement, how the Pelicans handle that. The future is Trey Murphy. It's not a question of Brandon Ingram versus Trey Murphy. This is not a question. This Bi has a time frame.
It's not a question to you, Q, but is it a question to them? Because obviously it was never a question that we needed a center since 2019, but the Pelicans didn't see it that way.
Well, hold on, you see, but that's what I'm saying. It's not just to me. A lot of people See that's not what I came up with. That's what they told you. They told you that if you drafted Trey Murphy, obviously he's developing. He's not gonna. You don't want to pay him whatever. And the reason why I brought up this article right here because these are a lot of players that's comparable to Trey Murphy, and so far as what the money could be for what the Pelicans could offer him contract wise. So this is not something that I'm sitting in the corner somewhere hyperventilating over and creating fantasies over. This is stuff that the Pelicans are saying. They talked about timelines and time frames. BI's time frame is up. He wants $50 million. Pelican said, I'm not going to pay you that. End of discussion. What could we do with that? So, I mean, obviously you got to pivot in a different direction. You can't let one player hold up the direction of the team. And besides, the team is supposed to be Zion centric. And Trey fits better in that. Go ahead, Lex. What you got, babe?
One thing, Brandon's going into year 10?
What is he at, DC? Since 2016.
Okay. I mean, dude's been in the league for a while, man. I mean, it's funny because he has stated that he needed a point guard in one of his exit interviews.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, I can't really say that he has not had a point guard because obviously he had Lonzo. He had Lonzo when he was with the Lakers here for a little bit. Obviously, they trade him. Then you have to think those were under different systems. But if the answer to unlock your game is you saying that you need a point guard and you're going to, basically, year 10 as far as, another season, it's like, dude, that's a long time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how long does it take? I guess, I don't know. Like I said, it's not like he has not had, he hasn't completely not had a point guard there. And not to mention, he did play with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? I mean, well, LeBron is known to be, handling the rock all the time, So yeah, point forward. So yeah, it really is time. It really is time. When you look at his timeline and it's like, in his exit interview just this past season, you're saying that I just need a point guard. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm not not feeling that. And you've been in the league for how long? Like, if you haven't been unlocked by now, and you know what I'm saying, all because you need a point guard, I'm just like, yeah, we just need to move on. Like, it's really time to start investing in Trey Murphy. And somebody said, Trey Murphy is inconsistent. Well, if you think about it, Trey Murphy, his playing time has been inconsistent. His the way he's being used, like he was subbing in for Zion. Okay? He was subbing Zion out when he came in. And everybody knows that Zion and Trey Murphy have great synergy. Talk about it all the time. Great chemistry. So just the way that he was being used, and I don't know, because honestly, I kind of feel like there's a lot of things that play into, if you're saying that he's inconsistent, that contributed to the inconsistencies. So, I mean, if he's consistently being positioned where he needs to be, especially playing along with Zion and not subbing in for Zion, which I think is just flat out crazy. We asked that question many a times on the stream during the season. Why is that happening? That's a huge problem. Yeah, you're not going to be, as consistent as you possibly can be because you're not being positioned in the best way possible.
Indeed. All right. DC, want to chime in before we switch topics, bro?
I think a big part of that was the fact that we didn't have a point guard. We saw when Lonzo Ball was here, they were able to play pretty good together. Now, Stan Van Gundy did come up with the idea, I guess, to stagger them, and that worked well. Statistically, for wins and losses, I think we needed a better team. Eric Bledsoe definitely didn't help with that. Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday worked a lot better together doing that. So Brandon Ingram actually had 2 point guards.
Yeah.
When he was most improved player.
That makes my point even stronger. Thank you, DC. Shoot, Drew was solid.
Yeah, Drew. People forget, man. Drew made the All-Star game in Philadelphia as a point guard, not a shooting guard. Drew is a very capable point guard, So we did have those 2 guys, man. And I think it's a similar situation now, being that you don't have Drew and Lonzo, but you have DeJounte Murray, and then you still have CJ McCollum. Those 2 guys give you 2 people, especially if they're all out there in a rotation together. And then you got a guy like Trey Murphy and Zion. It's impossible for a team to be able to double team Brandon Ingram. It may be impossible for them to even put their best defender on Brandon Ingram. So a guy given that type of, leeway, he can't do anything but flourish. I think that's one reason the Pels haven't traded him, because they're banking on, no. They're trying to just get us to throw Brandon Ingram away and let him play the season and see how good he'll play. He may yield better offers. I think we can do at any point during the season, at least with the Raptors got for Pascal Siakam. I think at any point during the season they could pull off a trade like that. But what if BI goes out here and he plays pretty well? The Pelicans are winning, and they're still kind of, floating him out there, possibly getting traded. Do teams change their tune? Or do the Pels change their tune and decide they just want to hold on to Brandon Ingram? Then that brings us back to this Trey Murphy situation. So
exactly,
no matter which way you look at it, we're in a quagmire, or whatever you want to call it. We're in a rock and a hard place, man. This should not be. We probably should have moved off of Brandon Ingram sooner if we were going to do that. Or at the very least, maybe have looked at trading Trey Murphy if you are set on keeping Brandon Ingram, because I don't see a reality, at least at this point, where we can keep both of these guys.
But then that comes into play. Are you trying to build around Zion? Because Trey actually fits better with Zion than Brandon does.
Oh,
as well as the team.
I'm taking Trey all day, and I like BI. But after what I saw last year, for me, it was the Lakers game. Before the Lakers game, I was one of the people, you could never tell me about trading BI. We keep him, he won't be here. I've always stood firm on that. The KD trades, I don't regret saying none of that. But after what I saw, that Lakers game, when Zion was doing what he was doing and Brandon Ingram was on the bench sulking, upset, and how amazing that moment was and how that was looking, instead of being fired up about that, he was on the bench upset. I'm like, nah.
Everybody around
Brandon Ingram won't be the guy, man. He wants to be the number one player. We can't. You got to pick between him and Zion. You're either gonna build around him or you're gonna build around Zion. I've always heard people say that. I kind of saw some stuff. I didn't want to believe. I'm like, they can co-captain, da da da. But I remember the very first real game we played, or maybe it was a preseason game. I can't remember, but I remember Lonzo Ball. He threw an alley. He threw an alley to Zion.
And B.I. when you got
B.I. jumped up there and took the alley. I said, oh, shit.
I remember that.
He jumped in front of him. He was clearly throwing it to Zion.
I know. I seen that.
I mean, we look at that moment and deny it, but looking at what I saw in that Lakers game, it just reminded me of that. And one of my partners we were talking about, he said, man, we got to trade B.I. He said that shit 2019. And here we are.
You've seen it throughout the season, though. You've
Right.
seen the different.
Yeah, that wasn't a sequel,
When you
bro.
look
Yeah,
at some
we've
games, it's
seen
like,
that people paying
okay.
attention. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
Les.
sometimes it was like they were playing like between Bi and CJ, they were trying to play Zion keep away sometimes. I mean, it's like, you see, no, for real, you see those moments like, what's going on
I
here?
think CJ was poking at. I honestly believe that CJ was poking at Bi doing that, because Bi does that. And the reason I believe that, think about all the lineups you saw with CJ and Zion and no Bi. They actually played really well together. So I think that was more of a tiff between CJ and Bi had going on with him jacking up shots and taking them from Brandon Ingram. I think that was possibly maybe his way of trying to get Brandon Ingram in line and get everybody more balanced. Or some of it could just be we didn't have a damn point guard. It was trying to do the best they can. You got two guys who kind of could be shooting guards.
I'm looking at I'm looking at the body language, the demeanor. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be obvious. Like, you know what I'm saying? It would just be flat out obvious. Like, there were times where they would be on fast breaks, right? Well, Zion was closest to the basket. Brandon, and I think actually Brandon and CJ, they actually did it. They both did it in that same game. I forget what game it is. I think it was one of those in-season tournament games. But it was weird because just listen to Joel, because everybody knew, Zion's down there he's in the dunking spot. They didn't even pass it. They just went one-on-one. It was actually 2-on-1, but instead of like pushing the ball forward, like CJ kept the ball and went in for a layup.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, come on now. Everybody knows to pass the ball
forward. I remember that play.
If you have a teammate up forward that's close to the basket, especially a 2-on-1, what are you doing going 1-on-1, dog? And it's 2-on-1.
Zion was playing bad during that period too, and he was extremely out of shape. You think that could have had anything to do with it?
So you're still not going to pass the ball.
They can't dunk the ball.
Your teammate who has the better, you know what I'm saying?
Better position,
yeah. I mean that still doesn't. That's not high IQ basketball.
Mm-mm.
No.
No. I'm sorry. If I have a teammate that's up forward and it's 2-on-1, I'm not gonna make a 2-on-1 a 1-on-1. That makes absolutely no sense. Anybody who knows basketball knows that does not make sense. That's insane. It really is. Why are you making? That's what you call playing the game. Like, you're making the game hard.
Yeah, you're playing in reverse.
You. Hey, and I tell this to my players, man. Like, look, the ball moves faster through the air than it does when you're dribbling. It moves way faster. It can get across that court way faster than if you're dribbling. So with that mindset, hey, 2-on-1 is better than a 1-on-1 situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have someone to pass it to. The passing, there's nothing, no person can run faster than the pass.
That's right.
Get in the foot race, Usain Bolt. You know what I'm saying? Pass the ball. He can't do it. He cannot do it. So that, you had and that was just one situation. But there were other games where it's like, okay, what's going on here? What y'all doing? What type of basketball are we doing, man? Are we playing winning basketball? Are we trying to make the game easy? We don't want to make the game hard. We want to make it easy.
I remember a lot of games was Zion to have it going, and then nobody looked for him. I'm like, what the heck? Why are they not giving him the ball?
They go right away from him.
Because
it wasn't just it wasn't just Brandon Ingram at times or CJ McCollum. It'd be like the whole team sometimes. Like,
because you know why?
Because what is going on?
Because hey, who did everybody say the leaders on the team were?
BI and CJ.
Exactly. Attitude reflects leadership.
This is true. And if the attitude is CJ jacking up shots and most of the players ain't crossed the half court line, what does that mean? Willie got.
If I want to shoot the ball, I gotta jack up shots too.
Right. If I ain't gonna get the touch, I got to go ahead and put it up while I have the chance. But yeah, that's a part. But that's what we were using CJ McCollum as a point guard. We know that he is obviously not that. So that was a bit of a detriment. That's why he's a better off guard, off guard than anybody. And that's what they feel DeJounte Murray will bring. So a lot of pressure on DeJounte to kind of even out the mentalities and personalities of the players that we currently have. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Pelicans do look a bit different with DeJounte, that they're going to definitely look that, because he'll be able to situate and be able to do the things that need to be done, especially when we get time to the clutch moments of the game, those clutch moments in the back of the game where we had that miserable, 0-23 or 24, whatever the hell it was, man. So we have some IQ there to kind of handle that. All right, let's transition, man, to this next article. We have Pelicans announced the training camp information for some of the family members who might not know. Trading for a bag of pork rinds at this point. All right, shout out to you, T. All right, Pelicans announced Tuesday that the team will hold training camp at Belmont University in Nashville from Tuesday, October the 1st to October the 6th, which is a Sunday. They're going to be holding camp in Nashville, Tennessee at Belmont University. So, and this is a part of the renovation issue. This is what the Octopus said. We're extremely appreciative of Athletic Director Scott Corley, Head Coach Casey Alexander, and Belmont Bruins basketball program for opening their facilities to our team. And we're excited to hold a competitive week of training camp practices and team activities in Nashville. During this time, the Pelicans training facility, Oshner Sports Performance Center, will be completing the final phase of renovations. We're equally excited about the significant upgrades being made to our practice facility, which is yet another example of Mrs. Benson's commitment to providing our players and staff with the most state-of-the-art amenities required to be successful, says the Octopus. These improvements will enhance the overall experience in every facet of our basketball operation. We look forward to returning to our new and improved training facility in mid-October. Pelicans will hold Media Day Monday, September the 30th at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans prior to the traveling in Nashville. Training camp practice will be held at the Crockett Center for Athletic Excellence on the campus of Belmont University from October 1 through 6. All training camp practices are closed to the general public. Additional information regarding practice times and media availabilities will be distributed at a later date. Following the training camp, the team will return to New Orleans for its first preseason game against the Orlando Magic at the SKC on October the 7th. Tip-off time is 12:30 Central Time. So there you go. First game, as we know, open up against those pesky Orlando Magic, man. The very pesky Orlando Magic. Okay, let's kind of move into our next topic of discussion, fam. Let's play Grade the Trade. Well, actually, I got one more. Let me run through this one right quick, fam. This is about the media deal. The Pelicans get a new TV home next season. And listen, I had the Bally Sports app. I think DC used it too, but I had the Bally Sports app. It was a piece. I ain't gonna say it's a piece.
Yeah, I used it, bro. I used it.
It was disappointing, man, for that app. It would freeze on you. Some games you had to keep reloading the app. You had to reset the app at halftime. It was an unmitigated, uncomfortable disaster. And the Pelicans heard what the family members were saying about it. And when they started doing that beta testing with Gray Television, I knew it was a matter of time. But anyway, the Pelicans' new TV partner give them a reach to over 3 million viewers to watch games next season. So this is something that we kind of covered on the Flash Report. We're kind of going over it now. Pelicans ditching Bally Sports to broadcast the regular season games next season. The team has reportedly struck a multi-year deal with Gray Television to air approximately 70 of the 82 regular season games. Now, Christian Clark was the one that dropped the scoop. The team has yet to make an official announcement about the deal. Bally Sports' parent company, Diamond Sports, filed for bankruptcy early this year, and it was inevitable the Pelicans would find a new partner to broadcast their games. Diamond began to inform teams that would drop them to stay financially afloat. Last season, the Pelicans experimented with Gray Television by allowing them to broadcast 7 regular season games. The Nielsen rating showed viewership was up 260% compared to views seen on Bally Sports. Gray Television is over 260%. It wasn't even a thought. Gray Television is one of the nation's largest local TV owners. With the new deal, Pelicans basketball will now be seen across Gulf Coast. From New Orleans to Baton Rouge, Biloxi, and even stretching into Alabama, New Orleans is making an earnest effort to curate more family members and supporters and stretch their reach across the Gulf. Earlier this year, the Pelicans and Saints agreed to a new multi-year agreement with WWL Radio. That's why a lot of the coverage with Mike Hallsby kiss ass, because they got an agreement right there, and that buys you a lot of de-essing from some of their commentators. David Griffin sees this as an opportunity to grow the Pelicans family base as we continue to grow the Pelicans brand throughout the region. This partnership with WWL will amplify their efforts to deliver high quality and engaging basketball conversations to a wider audience. New Orleans isn't the first team recently to allow their games to be seen free by family members. Phoenix recently switched to free over-the-air model to allow their family members to watch the Suns games. This new TV and radio deals will allow Pelicans and family and supporters over a much broader area to watch the team for free. So this will definitely help. Very smart move right here. If you go back into your memory, remember when the Pelicans, when Tom Benson first bought this team, the contract that they had, the television contract, was a piece of trash. The last dude that had the team, Shin, who came over from Charlotte, had this terrible garbage ass agreement in place where people couldn't watch the games. They had to split up, all kind of craziness. And he came in and made it a lot easier. And this deal that's under Gale is the best of them all. So the family members will be able to see the games on television. None of the craziness with the app involved. It's going to be a lot easier there. And before we go to grade the trade, y'all, Lex, DC, y'all want to chime on the last 2 items?
Yes, I would. Yeah, I don't care about that. The practice facility. Y'all need to get y'all's butts in the arena that you play in. Okay, they need to start practicing in there, because if you're starting off how you ended the season, losing all them home games, okay, we had problems, right?
Right.
Am I the only one who saw that? Okay.
No, we had some problems. Yes,
okay.
Indeed.
Yeah, right now, it's like if you're talking about winning at home, you need to get off to a great start with winning games at home. You know what I'm saying? Let's hey, for real, let's address that early. But right now, I mean, that's great. But at the same time, I'm looking at how things ended, and y'all couldn't win at home. Y'all can win at home. Like, practice in the arena where you're going to be playing your games at, so you can get off at a good start, winning games at home. Because, I mean, I like to think that the fans deserve to witness winning games on their home court. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can travel cross country. You know what I'm saying? Like DC.
That's right. Everybody don't have a magic yacht.
Hold up! I'm not driving at the time or boating. I'm sitting still tonight. What is y'all talking about?
He wasn't in. Look, he was sleeping. I caught you.
I am sitting still.
Wake up.
What you say, mommy? But look, I think it's an awesome thing. And Lex, I'm not gonna let you undermine with the incredible work that our physical therapist has been doing at this practice facility.
Amen.
And what these upgrades are going to do for the team.
That's
they need
great.
to get their massages and all that. They have some practices over there. But I will say this in agreement with you.
Hey,
the practice before the game. The practice before the game should always be in the Smoothie King arena. It's so much so that makes so much sense. I always thought that's what they were doing. Because it just makes too much sense.
Late. That's what's really sad. They changed it up late. And then, look, they went back to their normal ways. Be like, all right, we got to win after we had practice. No, dog, keep practicing. Keep practicing.
Why wouldn't you practice in the arena that you're going to play the game in? I just can't. At least one of the practices should be mandatory. You know, that's in there. Like the before game, like, I don't care about the shoot around and all that. Nah, you need an actual practice.
Yeah.
When you're going through everything. Because a lot of times from what I hear, you know, the guys might practice like twice a day. You can have one over at the facility. You can have another one in the arena. Like what better way to simulate a live game than in the goddamn arena you gonna play it? Like it's so common sense. It just makes too much sense. Like you don't see the Saints doing that shit. I'm sure they have some practices in the goddamn Superdome. Why they can't catch on? And they play less games.
Especially if you have a streak of losing at home. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like that it's like, dude, okay, let's do something different. Something's going on here, you know. And how many games did they go losing at home, but until they decide to change it up and practice in the arena?
I don't even remember it. Too many.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
like this is broken. Okay, if it's broke, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. But this is broke.
Yeah.
It needs to fix. You have to change it. You can't keep doing the same things and expecting a different result. Well, all the people with common sense, please stand up.
Man, that's crazy. But you know the real kicker though? The practice facility and the Smoothie King Arena is probably about 15 miles away from each other, man. Like it's not even close to the arena. That's the funny part. Like everybody out here in the city who knows what a practice arena is off of Airline, and then you got way downtown. It's a whole different part of the city. It's technically the practice facility ain't even in New Orleans. It's in Metairie. And then you got
that's right.
The arena that's in a whole it's a different zip code. It's in a whole other zip code. And you don't think that practicing there would help break a streak for you to not win at home? I guess maybe because the year prior they had been doing it that way and they didn't attribute that to being the reason. But I'm like, golly, though, man, if you're not playing good, how can you not at least think that would have something to do with it and be one of the first solutions that you try? I never understand that. And that was the difference in between us probably winning 49 games versus us winning maybe 53. I think you could have got a few more wins just off of doing that. But guess we'll never know. And we probably wouldn't have been a playing team. So would Zion have really got hurt? Guess we'll never know, though.
Hey, can you put up Rob McCoy's comment?
What's up, Rob? We talking about Gail putting new shower heads and better toilet paper, calling it a renovation.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we got the top stuff now.
What type of toilet paper is it? Golden Charmin.
Yeah, baby, we got the good stuff now.
Royalty Charmin. Extra soft.
Charmin. They got the good stuff. The Pelicans don't play no games. The Pelicans keep it they keep it all the way funky.
That's why ain't nobody taking the Pelicans organization seriously.
I tell you, man. Boy, I tell you. I'm trying to put this question together in the chat for the family members. See, it was a little too
who
long.
loves Willie?
He's not trying too hard about that Willie question, just letting y'all know.
Oh, that was long ago. The people was answering that already. So, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. People, listen, that question's a moot point because we still got Willie. See?
No, okay. Look,
oh no, it's not a valid question.
Listen. Who likes the Pelicans front office? You know what I'm saying?
Hell, I vote on that one.
Okay. And then look, the front office is still there. They ain't going nowhere. Look, all of it's a mute point, but we still want to know what the fans think, right? Look.
What the people think. I didn't answer that.
Who likes where the team is right now? Who likes the roster? Is this a living roster or is this just a roster?
DC, chime in, bro. You got the masters in rosters, bro. What you think about that?
Hey, you created it. You created the roster. The living roster, that was your creation. So, I mean, rightfully so, you definitely have to put some input on it, regardless of what I say.
Yeah, but
I think the roster, I think it's an organic roster. This roster is home built.
You mean
with whole players?
You mean you have human beings?
We got 100% natural human beings all over the roster. You know.
So it's not a living roster.
It is an organic, sustainable roster of whole human beings.
But I'm just saying, we like all these questions. They're at a mute point. That's my point, Big Q.
I'm just saying, Lex, because
the roster is the roster, right?
The roster's the roster.
You know, and the Pelicans front office is the Pelicans front office.
That's what we got right now. I know what you would do if you was in control. You would fire Willie
and Lucius. Whatever his name is. Ooh,
well, that depends on how high you are in the organization because he's the team president. So only one person outranks Dennis Lauscher, and that's Gabe Vincent. So you got to be way up there.
That sounds too close to Lucius.
Lucius line? Who said Lucius line? It's the Empire.
Oh, goodness gracious.
That's what comes between me and my family.
DC showing his mafia roots there.
You've got to make it a little bit more smoother. You know what I'm saying?
You sound like a Serbian or something.
What mob you can coming from, Lex? What's going on with you? What mob she talking about?
Look.
Man, that's the mafia over there in Serbia. Q Lex don't play, boy.
I know. How about that? I was like,
oh, shit.
Oh my goodness, we got the Serb mob in that mother. I said, Lex, my goodness.
I tried.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.